Welcome to the 7 Cents Podcast, where we go beyond dollars and cents to unlock the mindset beyond the money.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mike Macklin, aka Money Mike, the financial Thanos, because I'm snapping my fingers and I'm turning your financial problems to dust.
And I'm Coach RL, your money mindset coach. Mind right, money right, legacy locked in.
Guys, this is not your average financial podcast. We're breaking down money myths, mindset traps, and economic game plans.
We keep it real, raw, and relevant, from micro money moves to macro financial shifts.
This is a 7 Cents podcast where your mind meets your money. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We are back with another one. And when I say we are back with another one, listen, we are back. It's about to get crazy today. Today is going to be one of those, it's going to be a mixture of, it's going to make you mad, but it's also going, in my hopes, and I'm sure Rob feels the same way, in my hopes is going to open your mind up to what should be happening. Not saying I'm telling you what to do with your life, but it's a strong suggestion of how you should pivot. I'm going to say it that way, because the topic today is something we've kind of whispered about, but I don't think we've talked loud enough about it to really make people want to do anything about it. And today, I want to change that. So let's actually get into what we're talking about today. Today, we're going to talk about a very important question, and that is, in America, and I'm using America because I live in America, so this is why I'm saying in America, did slavery really go away? Now, I'm going to let that sizzle for a minute while y'all contemplate this, but I got Rob here with me. We're gonna unpackage this thing a little bit, talk about what this looks like and what we can do. Let's get right into it. The first thing we're gonna talk about is, first off, let's talk about what actually in legislation discusses slavery, and that would be the 13th Amendment. And let's talk about that just a smidgen. All right, so the 13th Amendment essentially abolished slavery. However, there's an excerpt in there, there's a piece in there that essentially says slavery is abolished except as a punishment for a crime. So now let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about how that mirrors the system right now. I want you to start looking at some things like mass incarceration, labor exploitation, and criminalization of poverty. And so my boy Rob, he likes to cook on stuff like this. So I'm about to pass it to you, Rob. Talk to me a little bit about what you think about this particular portion of this, and how do you feel this relates to that question?
I think it's one of those things that we as Americans can't ignore. However, we've been ignoring it for a very long time, and we know it as a systematic problem. These problems were literally built in legislation to make everybody happy. Like when the war ended, they knew what they wanted, but nobody was going to walk away without everybody being happy. And so with that being said, during that time, this is tough, man, because I'm battling like a little bit of anger, right? But during that time, when they abolished slavery, they then started to essentially, and it's been going on forever at this point, criminalizing being black. And then let me open it up to the realization, and it's not all about just being black, but it's about being a minority in America as the time progressed. And so that's why you see now the staggering numbers of minorities that are incarcerated, and then you look at the 13th Amendment and it's duh. Now, what really sickens me about those statistics is if you look at the numbers, and as we go into the podcast, I'll probably bring it up because I probably need to Google it and I don't want to stop and do all of that. But the amount of white people to minorities in America, and then you look at the prison system, and if the criminal system was as fair as it said it wouldn't it make sense that those numbers would emulate each other? So how can you have such a large number of a certain amount of people, and then you get into incarceration and then simply blame it on crime? That's why I say it's systematic, right? So let me break it down a little bit more. Cool. Not only we talk about crime, we talking about the neighborhoods in which these people came from, right? And in certain neighborhoods, and you can call them the barrio, you can call it the ghetto, you can call it the hood, you can call it the favela, you can call it whatever you want in any language. And what it is, where they put all of the people they want to fend for themselves outside of the norms we expect to have with the freedoms that we're supposed to have in this country. And I don't want this to sound like too sad of a episode. What I wanted it to be is more of an enlightened episode. This part of the reorganized slavery, we know, and I ain't gonna call it reorganized. Look at the 13th Amendment, that it is literally slavery. Like, I'm not changing my words. He read it, I read it, and I'm gonna say what I read. I'm not saying nothing I made up. The other piece to this is that people are completely missing a boat on where the concept of where they lie in that position of slavery. Now, the other piece to that is indentured servitude. And if you really start to peel back the onion on the banking system, the credit cards, and let's just say it, all of the debt that you have, all it did is reinstitutionalize indentured servitude. Because at the end of the day, when you paying this money back, and also even looking at the prices of items, and let me cook, bro.
Go ahead, man. Do your thing,
Let
bro.
me cook.
I know how you like to get, so go ahead and do your thing.
So I had so many people at my neck when I posted one little post on TikTok, and I had people at my neck and
I remember
angry and upset. And the one thing that I seen that was completely consistent in their response was, this is America. This is how it is. And the other piece is, you have to survive. You have to survive? Are you serious? Land of the free, home of the brave, full of fucking survivors. Doesn't make sense to me, bro.
At all.
Doesn't make sense to me.
No.
And so I understand that this country is built on that systematic method of having their workforce be the people and yada, yada, yada. Call it what you want to. The fact of the matter, what I want to bring to everybody's attention is there is a different way. You don't have to do it the good old American way. And I think a lot of our episodes have stated that, but that's what I really want to get out of this today, just to look how we are in survival mode. You're literally working 8, 12, 16 hours a day. I know people with 6-day work week, 7-day work week, swing shifts. And y'all are just y'all, because I ain't gonna say y'all, because I'm in the same boat. We are really just working to, okay, maybe I'm not in that boat, working to survive. I'm not trying to survive. I'm trying to thrive. And I am thriving. I'll say that. I am thriving. Although I do work a lot of these hours. Yeah. Although I work a lot of hours, I enjoy that part of my regular person job. But when I get into my business and entrepreneurship and then investing and trading and things of that nature, that's go time for me. What's the movie? Have you ever seen this movie? It's called, I got to Google it. I think it's called Idiocracy or something like that.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Idiocracy, I think is what's called.
Idiocracy. That's kind of how I feel like, oh man, that movie did too well of what the times look like now, because people are literally going at home, sitting, watching TV. I remember the one thing about the movie is everybody was drinking Gatorade instead of water. Hell, we drinking bottled water that we got to pay for, so we halfway there.
Yeah.
We're halfway there.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
This shit is wild to me, man. But give me your rendition of what America systematically looks like with slavery and what we would like to call indentured servitude.
Okay, so I'll touch on it right now because, again, I'm going to give the episode some room to unpack this. But the main thing that I want to say about this particular portion we're talking about right now is the reality of things is right now, that system, it never really went away. It just essentially, it got upgraded. They basically upgraded the software of sorts. It's what they call it, Norton antivirus. We had Norton antivirus like 3.0 or sure, it was like 1862 when it was supposedly happened. So we had like version like 1,000 something or whatever. But anywho, so it was basically just a system upgrade. And instead of putting chains on your ankles, they changed that and said, okay, we'll just put some debt on your back. We'll put you in so much debt that you really can't do anything. We'll pay you next to nothing for what you're doing. And we'll make you believe that there's no way out of it. And that is how the system was basically, even like how the 13th Amendment has, again, those excerpts or this exceptions. This is essentially the same thing here. They say, okay, yeah, we'll let you go. However, we're going to put you in a position or paint you into a corner, essentially, to where you're going to still do what I want you to do, regardless of what we call it. We can call it slavery. We can call it bad financial management. We can call it whatever. But they found a way to basically make it our fault. if it makes sense. It's okay, yeah, now it's your fault that you're like this. We didn't do this. They putting their hands up like, hey, we didn't do this. When if you really look at it, yeah, y'all did do this.
And let me tell you my favorite part about all of this, even for the people who's I'm doing good or I've been doing well over the past few years. Well, that sounds good. So just let's look at minimum wage over the last, I would have to say 35 years that I remember, but probably closer to 30 years in my life, that minimum wage rarely changed. And then people started complaining over the last couple of administrations. People were standing on the table and yelling, hey, we need to make $15 an hour. We need to change minimum wage. So over that time, they actually changed minimum wage. Okay, in certain places, minimum wage is $15, $14. Minimum wage nearly doubled. That sounds cool and grand until you look at I want to say, don't quote me on this. I will Google it, or you can drop the real answer in the comments.
Right.
Over 8% or 9% of inflation after we said, okay, we'll move minimum wage. And then we experienced about 8% inflation on the dollar.
That's pretty accurate.
Wow. And on top of that, they this year began doing trade wars, which then again will affect the power of your dollar. And now you at minimum wage, really making minimum wage again. All they did was move the goddamn marker just a little bit.
What they call it, shifting the goalposts or whatever they call
it. They shifted the goalposts. And we are sitting here looking crazy as hell. Hey, my minimum wage moved up to $15. Milk costs $5. Eggs cost $8. My minimum wage really is minimum again. Gotcha, bitch.
That's funny you say that. That's funny you say that because, again, it's even in the wording, minimum wage. Meaning, look, we're just going to put you at the bar, basically. Like, all right.
This is the least amount somebody can pay you and it'll be legal.
And that's what's funny to me about that. And it leads into that next segment I want to talk about anyway, about basically, you touched on it a little bit, about basically how the economic systems are in play. And it's basically, honestly, I don't even look at slavery as a skin color anymore. Look at it more like profit margins. It's okay, you are in a segment of profit margins, and that's what's being used to essentially put you into, and they even call it brackets. You know, these tax brackets, as they call them. So they're putting you into your respective little lanes. Okay, if you make this much, we'll put you here. You make this much, we'll put you here. And so let's talk. Let me
piggyback off of that. Let me piggyback off that, just that piece. I'm not going to take more than 30 seconds.
Do your thing, man.
Not the last administration, but the administration prior to that, they went in and they changed those tax brackets. So they would put you, I think it was like 125, you was in the house, and it was like, all right, we actually going to raise this up to 250. And they stretched that that tax bracket out just a little bit, just to reshuffle what middle class is. And now I stay in Washington, D.C., and I see it, and I've seen that large gap be adjusted during the taxes, and then now it is really coming to fruition what was happening when they were like, we'll give you this much of a tax break, and everybody that was in that tax bracket was like, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Once again, gotcha, bitch.
There you go. Exactly. And that's really the point of this segment. I feel like really the economy, it runs off of dependency, not empowerment. So it looks to put you into a place of subjugation. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Rob has said this several times, indentured servitude. And it's basically systematic indentured servitude. Rob mentioned things like the tax brackets, minimum wage being pushed a little bit. And when these things were done, and trust me, this wasn't by accident. It's made to look like, okay, we heard what you said. We'll do this. It's all an illusion of fairness or an illusion of democracy. It's, yeah, you're free. And I'm sure when they're saying this, that's what they do in their minds. Free. Yeah, sure, you're free. You know what it really makes me think of now that I think about this? Remember that movie Life? And when they first got onto the prison camp and they said, we don't need fences here because we got the gun line.
Tell them about the gun line, boss.
Tell them about the gun line, boss. Exactly. And this is what the system really came down to is, okay, we'll take the fences down, but we still got the gun line. We still got tax brackets. We still got minimum wage. We still got systems in place that, yeah, you can run if you want to. Yeah, go ahead. But we're going to put something in place that's going to shoot you right in your back and kill you. And we're going to call that bullet death.
Hey, this is good. This is good because it really goes back to when you definitely start looking at legislation and some of the things that I mentioned, even going back into the abolishment of slavery, everybody's going to get something out of it. So that's a good negotiation. Is a good negotiation when everybody at the table walks away unhappy, but with something from the deal. And every time that is what's happening. So as good as you be feeling about the congressman signed this law that is going to help us do something, it's going to help you do that, but it's probably going to help somebody in corporate America get rich. So good luck. You got
And
something
that's
out of it,
absolutely
but
accurate.
don't think anybody else going to get something out of it. 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the system and we talked about the gun line, if you will. What I want to pivot to and segue into is how that gun line actually happens. Like, how did that get put into place? And Rob is good at doing this. I don't know if he means to do this, but he's really good at doing this. He segues into the next thing without really saying it. You would be a great legislator, probably. Let me write this into here. But so he started segueing into this, and I think I helped him do it too with the gun line thing. But I want to talk about how the mental aspect of slavery comes into play, how strategic mental attacks are happening that again, put you into that bubble that they need you into in order to still fit into the slavery thing. Because again, the goal was never to just let this completely go. It was like, okay, again, like Rob says, let's come to the negotiation table and let's make everybody feel happy. Let's massage some shoulders and let's get some of that tension out of you. But yeah, of course, yeah, we'll let you go. But let's talk about some of the psychology behind how the slavery continued. Let's unpackage that a little bit.
Yeah. So I think this is probably been said before, but it really actually just comes down to programming, right? And we've been programmed for hundreds and hundreds of years. The psychology of this as based off a lot of rules that have been in place for hundreds of years. And a lot of it, and I hate to, let me not dance around it, right? So
Yeah,
a
come
lot
on,
of
come at it.
this mentality has been built into cultures, and it's not just Black culture, but it's also Irish culture, and I see it in Hispanic culture where we work to live. And I probably
Yeah.
would just honestly say that's American culture, because when you
Yeah.
go to Europe, that's not happening in Europe. Like when they say we taking a holiday, that shop about to be closed for a whole 14 days and you not getting no bread. You're not about to go to the butcher when the butcher is out of town because the shop closed. Everybody
Right.
is going to Nice, France, and they sitting on the beach, relaxing. They take very long lunches. In
Yep.
fact, Spain and Italy are infamous for their work days. And I just feel like Kendrick, they not like us.
Yeah.
They not like us. And a lot of the strength of the mindset around slavery as if you do what I say, you will be all right and we'll get you through life. The thing that we started off this conversation with, survival. If you do what I say, you'll be able to survive. And so everybody is not only looking to survive, but they're looking to be taken care of, because back in the day when you had the slaves were very dependent, necessarily that they couldn't go out and earn their own, but again, you look at soul food, we had to make our own scraps, our own clothes, not dependence in that manner. Dependence like we depend on the government for Section 8 and EBT and public school. Did y'all know? It's welfare. You didn't know that, did you? That's why I homeschool my kids. Yeah, all the way off of welfare. But all of these government programs and welfare, that's all part of the mentality. You do what you got to do. You pay a little bit of taxes and we'll take care of you. And that is the mentality. And at some point, you got to want to not, let me not say that. I was going to say, you're going to not want to play by their rules. The fact of the matter is they are playing by their rules. The rules that they gave you is only the rules they want you to know. That's why they say if you want to hide something, you put it in a book.
Right.
So you do play by their rules. If you look at IRS codes, that's part of their rules. If you look at legislation, you look at your amendments, you look at the laws, you look at your specific state laws. But I would really say the biggest rule book that you can open up is entrepreneurship, because America is a business.
Yeah.
And if you
Absolutely.
know how to run a business and you can see how this, number one, how this business is profiting. Number two, as you can see how they control their workers. Number 3, as you can see how they market to their consumers. Number 4, if you can see how this machine is operating, not only do you not have to play by those rules, but you will learn a lot of those rules and be able to implement them into your business. And you can start to look at this business as the new way to play. It's new rules,
Yeah.
new set of rules. And that's
Yeah.
why I enjoy entrepreneurship. I definitely enjoy homeschooling my kids. And I definitely love cutting their brain off to all of the programming that people are receiving on every little commercial. Let me cook. It's crazy.
That's about to be the phrase for this episode. Hey, let me
Yeah.
cook, bro. Go ahead, man.
Because you already know something struck a nerve in me. 5 seconds into my sentence, something struck a nerve in me.
I know how to get you, man. I swear I know how to get you going.
Yes. You just bring something in. You be like, hey, I'm going to step back and I'm going to see what happens and see where his brain go. And that's where
I'm a good instigator. Being from Detroit, I am a good instigator. I swear to God,
100%.
that's what we do.
100%. Now you done got me started. So I am so fascinated of the level of programming. This is probably about 2 weeks ago, I went and watched one of the first commercials ever that aired. It aired on a baseball game, and I can't remember what the product was, but instantly that product made it the #1 selling thing in the country. And now I think at the progressiveness of how commercials still are really programming people. It's amazing because I feel like if you weren't programmed, then don't finish this sentence. Call J.G. Wentworth.
877 cash now. Yeah. They did good. They did good.
They did really good, bro. If you know how old that commercial is, and the one with the general, I can do that with a million commercials, but it's that level of programming. And we call it UK. Let me not call it programming because I'm calling it what it is.
Yeah,
but that level of marketing,
you want, brother. Yeah, call it what you want to.
Yeah, that level of marketing is amazing. Yeah. And you don't know how you've been marketed to. You've been marketed to your entire life and not just commercials. Like I say, the transition of that first commercial I seen to J.G. Wentworth, call 776 cash now, whatever the numbers is. But everybody 776 cash now.
Right.
You want to sing it, but at the end of the day, what I'm saying is the way that you market something to someone is you have them hear it consistently over and over again. And then when they actually are on a trajectory to do what it is, hey, I'm trying to buy car insurance. And when you think of car insurance, the first couple of things you think of is Progressive because of their cool ass commercials. You think of the Geico because they're cool ass commercials, and you think of them cool ass State Farm Jake from State Farm got you thinking about. Like, those are the things that pop up in your head. There's over probably cleanly, easily over 100 plus, maybe in the high hundreds of car insurance agencies. And by the way, I always got to throw in a shameless plug. If you want to look at getting a quote for your car insurance, I can do that for you. Just go ahead, link me at yourmoneygo.com, and I will definitely do a car quote for you. I am not a PNC agent, but I do have agents that will be able to do that for you. Just wanted to plug that in there. But the level of marketing that's happening where they consistently put things in your head subconsciously and make it fun and make it cool. They do this in school as well. And so this is why, for me, it's disheartening how we don't have that level of support for trade schools that we do for the kid that goes to college and goes into the great American machine. And the reason that is because those trade schools, they make you a different level of success that doesn't necessarily catapult this country. I think I don't know how many people's heads that's going to go over, but if you go and work for McDonald's, that's cool. If you go work for T-Mobile, that's cool. If you go and work for, I don't know, Charles Schwab, if you go work for JP Morgan, if you go work for Wells Fargo, if you go work for Apple, all of those things, that catapults the country. That's what feeds off of the country. Now, the people in between that's fixing your pipes and building your houses and laying out carpets and floors, that's more of a individual entrepreneurial venture that doesn't necessarily have a place in the growth of this country. So I only say that to say, change your mind, change your money, change your life.
Nice. Let me touch on that a little bit as we end this portion of it and segue into my next portion here. These are my thoughts on this. And Rob did a great job of he almost alley-ooped me on this one. Basically, the way that I look at the psychological portion of it is we're basically being treated like children. They don't look at us on the same level. They look at us as children, something to be controlled, something to be taught, something to be basically molded into what we want you to be. And let's connect the dots on this. When you're teaching children, most of the time at the beginning, and you see a lot of people on YouTube are really successful now when they market to children. They'll put these little entertaining little songs and music and stuff in there, like Rob said, to make you remember without saying, hey, this is what we want you to think. They put these little catchy little tunes in there and funny stuff. They entertain you to basically put you into that cog. And so that is really how the psychological game gets played, is you're being treated like children. And think about it, even back in the slavery times, how the slaves were looked at. They were not looked at as equals. They were looked at as a tool to be used to do what they need to do. And that's how it hasn't changed. You are still looked at as a tool to be used. And so now with this knowledge, let's now start talking about what you can start doing. And Rob, he said something and it made me want to immediately interject, but I like to let Rob cook because again, he starts saying some stuff. And so the way that you're going to beat this game, the way that you're going to start changing the trajectory of things is you're going to have to learn how to start cheating at the game. Too many people right now, you're trying to play an unfair game fairly. And that's why you're losing, because you're not cheating. The tax code is a cheat code. The basic structure of how this all is set up, they are cheating at the game. Why do you think the gap, we talked about this, we talked about the wealth gap. Why do you think it's so disproportionately high? Why do you think so many minorities are disproportionately put onto these systems? Is because these people are cheating at their game. And anytime you start getting close to doing all right, then they start switching up the rules. This is why I use an example right now of President Trump. And I say the term pretty loosely because he's not my president. I don't believe in none of that stuff. He's the president. But anyhow, he's looking to transition from the whole tax thing to the tariff thing. So again, all he's really doing is just, again, renaming it. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, this is just a system upgrade. That's all we're doing right now. We're just upgrading the system to look like something different. So let's talk about some ways to start cheating at the game a little bit. And I'm going to let Rob go first on this one. What are some thoughts on how do we cheat at this game ethically and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I would say my biggest thing is to become an entrepreneur, be a part of that machine, because the part of the machine that's being fed in this country is businesses, not just like self-employees, but like really businesses. Consider getting into contracting. I say the biggest cheat code is government contracting. I ain't gonna get too deep into that. Maybe we'll save that for another conversation, but that's definitely one of the bigger cheat codes. You talked about the biggest cheat code, and all those first couple really allude to the biggest cheat code, which is the IRS tax code, right? There's so much information, wealth of information, and I don't want to say it's hidden. Some things are hidden in law, like it's in English, but not the English you speak. But
yeah,
doing your due diligence and learning that language will allow you to peel back the onion of what's really happening, what needs to happen, and you can make it happen for yourself. And that's one of the things that me and Mike are definitely, I say, let me use the proper English, Mike and I. But that's one of the things that Mike and I are doing. And we really want to encourage you guys to do the same thing because, again, it's not hidden, but it is definitely a great game of hide and go seek for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's essentially, like I said, you almost have to beat them at their own game. Like you have to start using the same things that they use on you and put it back on. I'm gonna use a perfect example. Remember when you was a kid and your parents said something to you, whatever, like they said something to you. And that's when your little child brain all of a sudden got some excellent memory because a situation comes up and then you say, oh, but you said this. And that is the perfect illustration of how you cheat at this game. And Rob did a great job. Again, I'm start calling you the alley-oop guy or something because he really knows how to set these things up So when Rob mentioned the tax code is the cheat code, that's a perfect place to start, honestly. It's okay, hey, you said that if I start a business, I can write off the expenses associated with being in this business. I.e., let's use something me and Rob both doing right now, the branding.
This, sir,
Dining
is a
out,
business
exactly.
expense.
The things that you already paying for, dining out, the clothes on your back,
Cell phone.
your phone, traveling. Start using what they said against them. And say, okay, you told me that I can fly to Europe, talk about my business over there in Europe, and then I can write off the ticket, I can write off the food. Essentially, this is how the point of that is you want to start basically treating the numbers the same way as the wealthy treat the numbers, and the same way of the reality. The reality is, okay, yes, you made, let's use the average cost, not average, average wage in America is $60,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. So you made $60,000. However, you spent groceries, you spent mortgage, you spent this. The wealthy do the same thing. They say, hey, look, I made $8.9 million this year in my business. However, I spent this. So really, I only made like $11,000 this year. So guess what? You can't tax me. So they've effectively cheated at the game, did the same thing that you're doing, but unfortunately, you didn't get to take advantage because you trying to play the game fair. Oh, the rules say that I'm not supposed to claim this and I'm not supposed to claim this because I'm an employee. You got to start using them words against them. Okay, if they're telling you essentially how you could start changing that trajectory, then do it. And one of the favorite things that I think I said this before, and your parents told you this a long time ago, and it said, don't do what I say, do what I do. And that's really how you play the wealth game against them.
How you play the game.
It's okay, you telling me go buy a house, go get married, go do this, go this, but you not doing that. So wait a minute, let me look at what you're actually doing, and then I'm gonna do what you do. I'm not gonna do what you say. I'm gonna do what you do. Now, Rob and I both, we actually both have amazing systems that will help you do exactly that. Now, before you come on here saying Money Mike said that I'm gonna teach you how to cheat and do all this, I'm not about to sit here and do nothing that's gonna get you put in jail. I'm not saying we're going to learn how to illegally do things. It's not what I said. I said we're going to learn how to use what's out there in a way that is going to be advantageous to you, just like it is advantageous to the system. So I want to give Rob a little opportunity here to talk on how the GOAT money system does that, and what are some ways that you specifically are out there helping people. And I'm not putting words in your mouth when I say this, but you helping people to cheat.
Yeah. Hey, so we actually have two ways to do this, right? So if you are interested in starting your entrepreneurial journey, you can go to thegoatbusiness.com and schedule an appointment with either myself or Kalicia, and we will get you started on your journey. A part of that journey is that we teach you how to use some of these tax codes in order to not only protect your business and protect your business assets, but to ensure that you are properly using the rules that they gave us. The other piece to this is if you just are, I ain't gonna say hell bent, but you definitely want to be a W-2 employee and you want to figure out how to make your money work for you, go to yourmoneygoat.com and we will look at your finances. We'll do a complete financial audit and we'll let you know what rules that you need to apply to your finances for sure, especially when it comes to debt management as well. Mike, what you got cooking?
Well, y'all know me. If y'all don't know me, I'm the financial Thanos. And if you remember anything about Thanos, he came in to challenge all of it. He said, listen, if it just got to be me, it's going to be me. So here at the Green Order, I found a way to mimic Thanos' system. I'm going to put you in front of basically the 6 financial freedom gems that's going to basically help you snap financial illiteracy, financial poverty. You're going to snap that thing right into dust. Our financial freedom gems is specifically designed to, first and foremost, challenge the traditional ideologies put out there, the slavery that they've basically pressed you towards. And we're going to show you how to challenge that, how to shift your mindset from the slavery mentality into the king mentality, until the empire builder mentality, to where you are back in control. Because I've said this before in other episodes, but the biggest problem that we face in this system is that we feel like there's nothing we can do about it. And what it has effectively done is it has basically put you in a position where you've embraced the slavery that you claim to be so against. And so going forward, we want you to fight that. And in the Green Order, that's what it's all about. I'm here to fight this system. I'm here to go against all of it. I'm here to essentially cheat at the game, because guess what? If they not playing fair, why should I? And that may sound extremist, may sound crazy, but I'm not telling nobody to do anything violent against anybody. I'm not advocating any of that. But at the Green Order, we are advocating taking control of your life and snapping those financial problems to dust. So I hope after watching this episode, after listening to this episode, that the first thing that happens is that you get really mad. Because it's funny, because Rob at the beginning, I felt like he was holding himself back because he was trying to get a little mad at the beginning as he was unpackaging this thing. But that's the whole point. When I introduced this topic to Rob, and if you know anything about me, I like to make people mad first, because I feel like that is the tool that creates change. If you want to look at the word evolution, evolution only happens because nature or whatever puts things in front of you that says, hey, you either gonna change or you're gonna die. And so this is what this episode is all about, is that if you guys don't change what you're doing right now, you're gonna die. And I'm not really exaggerating that. It's going to be the end, because already the wealth gap has basically killed the middle class. There is no middle class. And y'all can argue that with me down in the comments. You can argue with me, oh, there still is a middle class. No, there isn't. You're either rich or you're poor. That's the reality of it. And so I want you guys mad, and I want you guys ready to do something about this. Rob, I'm gonna let you leave your closing thoughts, and we're gonna come on down for a landing on this.
For sure. I would definitely say, even thinking at the beginning of the episode, one of the reasons that I really was frustrated, because I'm going to say something and hopefully I spark a thought of one or two people. But the real thing that pisses me off the most is that the majority of the people who even take the time to watch this are going to be upset, like that we're trying to rock the apple cart. But at the end of the day, there's nothing that I'm saying that is far-fetched. And I think for some people, they think it's so far-fetched and so perplexed that it's sad. And I'm coming to terms with it. I had to talk about this, and I'm like, people were calling me crazy. And so I understood, what some of the leaders of our time felt like when they were just saying things that made sense. And people were like, I'm like, this system, the way they got y'all in this system is wild to me. But I really hope y'all enjoyed the episode. I really hope you take some of these things to heart. And I know one day you'll hear what I said and you're going to be mad at yourself that you didn't listen. But I'm okay with it, because just know I'm always going to tell you, change your mind, change your money, change your life. And I'll pass it back to you, Mike, to shut us down, brother.
All right, guys. So if you got value from this episode, if something moved within you, I want you to smash that like button, leave a comment below, share this, tell somebody. But more importantly than anything, if you were really moved by this and if this really hit home, do something about it, guys. Do something. Get in touch with Rob, get in touch with me, and let's fix this thing. Appreciate y'all dropping by.
7 cents, we out.
Go.
You just tapped into the 7 cents, where the mind meets the money and the legacy gets built.
It's your boy Money Mike, the financial Thanos, snapping one myth at a time and leaving no financial lies standing.
And I'm Coach RL, mind right, money right, legacy locked in. If today's episode gave you game, make sure you rate, review, and share it with someone.
Hey, follow us on all platforms and keep the conversation going, guys. DM us your questions, your myths, and your money wins.
Until next time, think deeper, move smarter, and keep building.
This is the 7 Cents Podcast. We out.